You want it to be one way.
What?
You want it to be one way.
Man, I
You
don't know
want it
what
to
you...
be one
Man,
way.
stop! Stop saying that.
What is the other way?
Yep, and just like that, University of Georgia football fans found out that it wasn't their way. It wasn't their time. It was the other way. It was the time of the University of Alabama, Crimson Tide, once again. Welcome back to the latest episode of One Way Podcast. I'm your host, Lorenzo. And it's been a couple of days now, so I guess I can afford to share my feelings about the Georgia football season or this past championship game without tears. So let me do that. Now, first and foremost, I've said the entire year and even last year that it would take about 3 or 4 years for Kirby Smart to have Georgia in the position that they were this year. He's definitely 2, 3 years ahead of schedule, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the way that those guys played the entire season. The loss to Auburn was necessary to right the ship, and then beating Auburn in the SEC championship was more of the same. It was something that was definitely necessary, especially for us to get to the point of where we are now, and that is the second best team in college football. Now, we were the best team in college football for about 45 minutes. And then, Alabama did what Alabama does, and they made the halftime adjustment that saved lives, saved jobs. It makes regular people into superhuman people, and that's what they did with their new quarterback, Tugga whatever his name is. I'm not even going to look it up because he's an Alabama player, but Nick Saban removing Jalen Hurts from the game at halftime and putting this young guy in was an amazing move. Who knew that one of the best quarterbacks in college football was sitting on Alabama's bench? All too often we've seen the slow march toward the mobile quarterback in Alabama with the Blakes and then the Jared Hurds, and to see this Hawaiian kid go in there and basically ball out of control, that was something amazing to see. But it doesn't take away from the season that Nick Chubb had and deciding to come back to school. It doesn't take away from the season that Raquan Smith had or any of the other guys. It doesn't take away from Sony Michel coming back for his senior season. All too often, players come back for senior seasons and they don't work out well, especially if they come back for things like championships. Now, they did get that elusive SEC championship, but the ever elusive national championship just didn't belong to them, man. But yeah, I'm proud of those Dogs, man, and hopefully they're proud of themselves, and hopefully their parents and families are proud of them as well. They gave it all that they had, and it was just something that was unforeseen that happened to them, and that's what halftime adjustments do. They take a regular team and turn them into a superhuman team. They take a scheme that the coaches have been preparing for a week, and they flip it on its head. That's what we've been doing to teams all year. Making adjustments. The go from Eason to From was as good as good of an adjustment as removing Jalen Hurts and putting the other quarterback in for Alabama. So we've been on winning end of things. We've been on losing the things to win our playoff game with a long run to sell it off to beat Oklahoma, and then to lose in overtime. I mean, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, man. I guess I'm not as over this loss as I thought I was. I feel the tears coming right now. So what I'm gonna do, actually, I'm gonna let you all go. That'll probably be the last thing you hear about Georgia football until they actually start playing football again. I'm not a real huge fan of the spring, but I may come back and cover because we're getting one of the best recruiting classes in the entire country. So we have that to thank, and Alabama will remain where it is. Although there are talks of Nick Saban possibly going to the Giants coach. But I believe it when I see it, man. Thanks for listening, man. Peace.